I grew up on a small dairy farm, and my folks started grazing cattle in the 80s. They were early adopters of managed grazing. That's kind of what we grew up in, learning about this practice of managing cattle.
I grew up on a dairy farm over by Pulaski, Wisconsin. Small farm. I think my parents had 45 cows.
So I met my wife at UW River Falls in college, got a degree in agriculture education, and taught high school agriculture for 4 years.
I was determined to not marry a farmer, not be a farmer. And then I met Joe, and it turns out he was a farmer, and we ended up having the same passion for the same things. We found out we were having our first child, and we just decided, we want to raise our child on a farm the way we were raised.
We got the opportunity back in my home neighborhood to purchase a farm back in 1998. The farm had actually not seen cattle for 6 years, so we came into it with about 35 Jersey cows, some cows from my dad and from my father-in-law also to help round out the herd. Managed grazing was key in deciding whether or not we were going to dairy. It just clearly gave us the opportunity economically, number one, to get into dairy farming, because we didn't have to invest in so much overhead and capital and equity to get going. And if we could utilize the grass and the cattle to consume the grass, it was a real win-win type of thing. We wanted it to be sustainable, not only economically, but environmentally. And the NRCS was a lot of help in getting the farm up and going. And we set up a grazing plan for the farm before we even moved cows on it. Our primary conservation practice is permanent ground cover. You move the cows more frequently, you create better pastures down the road, and you protect that soil and that land and that water a lot more. We're utilizing our land and our grass to its optimum level. We're also seeing an increase in infiltration into the soil, and the better you can keep that ground covered, the less soil you're going to lose. So we have been able to reduce our soil erosion down to almost nothing.
Now I really found a new passion for it, a new love for the environment and everything that's around us. In the past, it's always been told to us, if you're going to expand, when you get to that point, when you expand, you just get bigger. But Joe and I had the idea that we would like to make smaller farms, the same size as ours right now, but duplicate that. That's kind of what our thinking was, that whole system somewhere else.
When our farm hit 150 cows and it kind of maxed out our land base here to get the 70% grass coming into each cow for the dry matter per day, we decided, why don't we duplicate this farm? We can still keep the amount of dry matter coming in from grass, we can still keep our pastures permanent, and we can try to scale this model. And then again, what we did in 2020 is the same thing and set up another dairy with about 150 to 175 cows on it also.
We can share labor, we can share equipment, but yet if we want to cash out of it, then a family could run it.
Because each one of them could still stand on their own. We like to be able to have that option, to be able to leave the community, leave the land in a better shape than when we got it. Managed grazing provides a lot of solutions to environment, to economics, to markets, to lifestyle, to farm transitions. How do you pass this knowledge on to generation after generation? Not just on that farm, but people that could implement these practices in other areas. You almost need to experience this. You almost need to learn from the people hands-on that have done this for a while, because this is something that really can't be learned from a classroom or taught specifically out of books. You need to experience on how all these biological systems fit together and how they rely on each other to make this system work. I think that's really the key to sustainability. So this is one of the core reasons of why we created the Dairy Grazing Apprenticeship, is to keep giving and keep training and keep the succession going.
So the first farm that I'd ever worked on for any grazing practice was Joe's. I've worked with them countless times throughout the last 20 years. Joe is an open farmer. We can come out here, we can talk about his successes, what worked, but even more importantly for people who are getting into this, what didn't work, why it didn't work, what you would do differently. That's invaluable. Those are the people that we need to introduce new grazers to.
You don't do this for the award. We do this for the environment, for family, for sustainability. It's truly humbling to be selected for it. It's a really important thing to us.
I don't know how to explain it. It was just a total surprise. It was a wonderful surprise.
I have enjoyed every opportunity I've had to work with him. He's passionate about everything he does, and I couldn't be happier that he's the one that's receiving the award.
I just hope that the importance of conservation and taking care of the environment and being steward of the land, that continues to be a priority and keep it going for future generations.